In the scorching heart of the Arabian desert, beneath the sun of Makkah, a boy was born into the house of al-Walid ibn al-Mughira, a man of wealth, power, and sharp intellect. But this boy, Khalid, was different. His eyes were sharp like a hawk's, his voice calm like the desert night, and his presence, even as a child, carried the weight of someone born for greatness. From a young age, he learned to ride before he could walk confidently. Swords, spears, and horses were not tools to him. They were extensions of his very soul. How could his followers, though persecuted and poor, remain loyal to him with such unwavering devotion? These questions echoed in Khalid's heart. Victory in battle couldn't silence the restlessness in his soul. No army with him, no weapon drawn, just a man seeking light. It challenged the idols of Quraysh, their pride and their traditions. Khalid, a loyal son of his tribe, stood on the opposite side of this new message. He fought against the Muslims with all his might. By the time he reached manhood, there was no warrior in Quraysh who could match his strength, skill, or strategy. His name became synonymous with victory. In duels, he was unstoppable. In war games, a genius. Quraysh held their heads high and said, "This is our lion. This is Khalid," but life had a twist waiting. A man named Muhammad had begun preaching a new faith, Islam. In the Battle of Uhud, it was Khalid's military brilliance that turned the tide. His first test came during the Battle of Mu'tah. 3 Muslim commanders had been killed, and chaos was on the horizon. The Prophet, upon hearing of the battle, declared, "The Muslim army, 3,000 men, stood trembling before 200,000 Romans." When the Muslim archers abandoned their post, Khalid saw the gap and struck like lightning from behind, sending the Muslim army into chaos. It was a painful day for the believers, and Khalid became a name feared by the early Muslims, and conquered Iraq and Syria with a brilliance that baffled the great empires of the world. But something gnawed at him. He thought, questioned, doubted, until the doubt in his resistance became stronger than the doubt in Muhammad's message. Finally, he made a decision, not to draw his sword again, but to lay it down. For truth, how could a man, Muhammad, stand firm despite all the odds? Yet here I am, dying in my bed like an old camel. May the eyes of cowards never sleep in peace, and Khalid, the indomitable warrior, lay on his deathbed. Not on a battlefield, but in a quiet room. A man whose sword wrote the story of empires, but whose heart was always loyal to something far greater than victory. To Allah. When Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab removed him from command, fearing that people were beginning to rely on Khalid instead of God, Khalid didn't rebel, didn't protest. He simply said, soldiers who fought against him would later say, one night Khalid stared at the stars, the wind brushing past him like whispers from another world. He rode to Madinah. When he entered the presence of the Prophet, the messenger smiled and said, I knew a man of your mind would not remain ignorant of the truth. Khalid lowered his gaze and replied, I testify that there is no God but Allah, and you are his messenger. In that moment, the Lion of Quraysh became the sword of Islam. It didn't take long for Khalid's brilliance to shine again, this time under the banner of faith. Khalid stepped forward. He took the flag without being asked, reorganized the lines, and launched a masterful retreat that saved thousands. A sword from the swords of Allah has taken the banner, and victory came through him. From that day forward, he was known as Saifullah, the sword of God, and he lived up to that name. In battle after battle, Khalid was unstoppable. He led the Muslims during the wars of apostasy, crushed the army of the false prophet Musaylima at the Battle of Yarmouk. Outnumbered yet unshaken, Khalid broke the back of the Roman army in a legendary display of strategy and courage. We did not fight a man, we fought death itself, but even at the height of his glory, Khalid remained humble. I did not fight for Umar, I fought for Allah. Years passed. Battles faded into memory, swords were sheathed. He looked down at his body, scarred from head to toe, each wound a memory, a story, a sacrifice. And yet, he whispered with tears in his eyes, "I fought in 100 battles, and there is not a spot on my body without a scar." That day, the earth lost a hero, but history gained a legend. Khalid ibn al-Walid, a man who began as an enemy of the truth, became its greatest defender. And though his body rests in the soil, his name still echoes like thunder whenever honor, courage, and faith are spoken in the same breath. He was ... and will forever be the sword of Allah,